Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, and it consists of 81 verses, chapters. I call them forms, that sort of all address different ideas on how we can live a more reasonable life. When I talk about living a reasonable life, I'm talking about living a life in which we're not asking others to change for us, but we're kind of being aware of ourselves and our feelings, whether we like that we're doing the things that we're doing, and we alter those things that we do because of our liking or not liking that we're doing them, and we allow ourselves to do things that we like, that we don't like, that we do until we don't, and life is easy. We just kind of move with the flow of everything around us. I got a message to talk about our inner light, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit. In the question, it was like, you can be afraid of your own power, right? You can be afraid of what's possible because it's going to take you so far out of your comfort zone. And that is really the thing that I think keeps a lot of us from getting beyond our comfort zone. Whether it's with our exercise, I don't want to do this because I'm going to hurt myself. Maybe that's true. And I wouldn't want to push anybody to do something that they may end up hurting themselves for. But sometimes we have to look at that. You see, I really don't like that. I'm stopping short. Right? Back to the basic tenets of everything that I talk about, right? Which comes from this space of addiction and talking about, like, what do I like that I do? And separating that between, like, what do I like doing? I could like doing a thing that I don't like that I do, and then it becomes complicated. But understanding and having this conversation with ourselves that, we're going to do this until we don't, being gentle, having grace. So I chose to talk about this sort of light within us, and how to, one, get in touch with it, because you're not going to be able to just shine your light overnight, You're not going to just, you can have an experience that opens you up spiritually. So I had a friend that was raised in a cult, and when she got out of that cult, she expanded almost overnight, right? This amazing kind of transformation when she kind of got away from the cult. And that transformation became her measuring stick. And since then, nothing measured up to that. And so she's been searching ever since. And the thing is she's never going to have that awakening again. Like your spiritual awakening that you had, no matter how deep or profound it was, is never going to happen again. Like that's really something that only happens once in your life. Maybe you have a couple instances that come close, but there is only one big awakening. Then everything's kind of a long slog. It just slowly unravels. Sometimes when we go through that big awakening, we don't want to necessarily go through that again in that way. Or we don't want things to change to the degree that they changed, because they could have gone bad. We start telling stories, start doing all these things that make us fear being who we are. Make us fear our strength. Make us fear how much we might hurt others, how much we might hurt ourselves or the path that we're on. We get conservative, in our actions. We see, I want to reduce this. I want to reduce the potential for harm. So this is when you're really starting to get in touch with your power, but still stuck in the story loop of everything is dangerous. And thinking about this, I chose number 52, like Tao, so too you, to continue this conversation and to see if this might have something for us to walk away with, to think about how can we not hide our light under a bushel, right? Or a barrel or whatever they say, right? To not hide our light, to allow our light to grow without, well, you're not going to allow your light to grow without fear. The fear is just part of it. We have to walk through that fear so that we realize there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, you cannot be afraid of yourself. But when you first go through any sort of spiritual awakening, what ends up happening is you meet yourself for the first time. And so it's like, I don't know if I can, this guy, I don't know who this guy is. Hey, Lo, how you doing?
I'm good. Good morning.
Morning. Look, you're waking up.
Huh?
Are you just waking up?
Well, it's been about 15 minutes, so yeah.
Yeah. That's just waking up.
Yeah, I got you guys. I got my.
Are you here with Krista?
No, that's my other roommate just walked in, Jess. But
okay,
we're all getting ready to get. Oh, I'm gonna place a Walmart order. Yeah, we're all getting ready to get going. But we wanted to say good morning to our.
Good morning.
I got my sleep meds last night, guys, and I took them and I was like, these aren't working. And then the next thing I know, it's morning.
Yeah. I'm glad. Getting yourself into some sort of regular routine is a godsend. And then you can just recalibrate.
Well, and what's kind of amazing about this too is that, it's, again, just the things that I'm learning are so funny. It's like, I have very weird sleep issues. It's a lot of trauma from when I was a kid, but I passed out last night and I'm sleeping in a room with somebody else. And usually that doesn't happen. And it says nothing about the other person and everything about me that I don't trust people enough to sleep around them. Like, that's how fucked up my sense of truth, whatever. But, I passed out with her in the room last night and I knew, like, I must feel safe here. I must feel safe because we were out and we watched our murder shows before bed, like all good women do. And
true crime.
Yeah, it's good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So, Crystal, what's your lucky number? We got to pick a number.
I like 17.
She likes 17.
You like 17? Of Masters and Leaders is the title of 17. Yeah. And this really kind of talks about, everybody's a leader, so are you. So you can guide yourself. Of course, there is self-will run riot, but especially like when you're looking around and trying to prove yourself in times. But what this says is, in the time of the great masters, there were no leaders. Then those whom the people loved led the way. After having created the position, the people feared their leaders. Then they despised them. Having created leaders, their faith in Tao was diminished. Having become a leader, his trust in the people was diminished. When there are great masters, there are no leaders. She works day and night and says nothing about it. When the work is done, the people say, amazing. We did it all by ourselves.
Oh, I remember this one. I love this one.
One of the nice things about this verse, the things that I like about this verse is, it's this, they talk a lot about leaders and stuff, but it's these two lines: having created leaders, their faith in Tao was diminished. So when you decide to follow someone else, you diminish your own faith in yourself.
Gotcha.
When having become a leader, his trust in the people was diminished. If you happen to be someone that other people are following, you think your opinion is better. You get this impression that your voice is more important than theirs. Sometimes when you're a big sister or a big brother or whatever, and you're telling your little sibling is asking you all these questions, and you get it in your head that you're more important than they are. And then when they start making decisions that are against you, you go, well, you're being rebellious. It's like, well, no, you're not being rebellious. You're still just being yourself. I was just fooled into thinking I was more important than I am. So having become a leader, his trust in the people was diminished. So you don't trust your little brother or your little sister for making the right decision. You want them to come to you because you're the leader. This is your identity. So these two lines always stand out to me, right? Having created leaders, their faith in Tao was diminished. They stopped trusting. Your little brother stops trusting himself because he's trusting you. He's looking to you. But then you, having become a leader, get patted on the back so much by watching your little brother take your advice day after day after day. And then you're like, one day he doesn't, and you're like, you're just being mean, or you're just being rebellious. And it's like, well, what's that?
Why didn't you listen to me?
Well, right. And now you're offended because your little brother's living his own life. And then that's what happens when we start following people. That's what happens on social media when people get all of this praise for saying what they do and stuff. They feel like they're leaders. And they don't have any faith in the people that follow them. And when the people that go on.
Is it like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. The spokes make the wheel stronger. Does that make sense? Like, the community is the whole circle, and then the spokes are the people in it. And you're stronger having that center core the way it is.
Right. It's all made of individuals that make the wheel strong. If one of those spokes wants to control it, there's no leader in that, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is if you I don't know how to process the analogy with a leader other than like one spoke can't hold a wheel together.
Right, but I'm saying it takes all of them.
Right, it takes all of them.
A circle like a hoop. Like think of a zero.
I've come across wheels before. I know what they are.
Sorry, I just mean like you can function as just yourself, but you're stronger having different support systems and having different opinions and being able. Like I feel like we're on the same page. This is just very interesting.
Yeah, this is how you're
happening in group yesterday. A lot of people are frustrated with the lack of whatever, and the leaders are kind of looking at us like, well, we're doing all this work, and we're looking at them like, well, you're not doing what we need you to do, and really we just need to sit down and have a conversation. Yeah, and organize ourselves.
Right. It's your so you guys. I mean, if you're in the situation that you're in, you were in.
Yeah, not talking about doing anything bad.
No. Of course. No. What I mean is that you're in the situation that you're in because you don't necessarily have a real strong connection to trusting yourself
or trusting others. I mean,
right.
I know them for, 4 days. So
right, of course, and so, but in order, like what this is talking about is there needs to be a connection between And sometimes we have to let go of our own desires, what we think our desires are, because we're under the influence, right? We're under the influence of ideas, not just chemicals, not just whatever. We're under the influence of society. We're under, and like we're under the influence of our parents, and we're under the influence of the education system that we experienced. We're under the influence of trying to do the right thing or trying to get what we think we want. All of these things get in the way. And, when we start talking about like how things work together, right? Having created leaders, their faith in Tao was diminished. Their faith in themselves was diminished. Their faith in their own ability to do the thing is diminished. And don't forget, in the beginning, after having created the position of leader, so once the little brother starts looking at the older sister or whatever and says, hey, you're my leader, in some 4-year-old mental state, right? The people feared their leaders. Then the thing is the 4-year-old
different leaders at different times too, because at 4 years old, I needed my mom in a very different way than I need my mom today.
Right. And as you grow up, you start to fear your leader. You start to, you're afraid of your leader, whoever really you're following.
Yeah.
Right. Or you fear them because you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to get, you fear them in all sorts of ways, possibly.
I think in the end, what I keep coming back to for me is being a mom, and especially me and being a mom to all boys. Like, I'm telling these women, like, they're handing me these girly clothes and I love them. And I'm like, you don't understand. I acclimated to boy life. And I think that's most, like, they say women go, like women, they say you should set your thermostat by women because they feel the temperature first. And they do that because of how, science nurtures whatever it goes by. But like, it's just so interesting to me. I'm thinking that in the leadership, that a mother like empowers everybody to be able to do what they do on their own. And like, that's where I kind of feel like I failed as a mom, is that I did get too controlling, and now my kids won't talk to me. That makes sense. Yeah.
My mom did. I said, I will not talk to her. She tried to tell every part about it.
No, I need to this was very good. Thank you, Martin Young.
Absolutely. Well, I'll send you the text so you can share it around.
I will, yeah.
All right. Love you, Lo. Good luck today. Have a good day.
You too.
We're going to bring Melissa up. Lo and her roommates picked number 17. Melissa, how are you doing? It's been a couple days.
I am doing all right, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Life is easy. Went to Camp Hokey Pokey over the weekend.
I heard that. Like, I'm excited. Like, I want to go to Camp Hokey Pokey. It sounds like so much fun. Wait, now, I'm silly, so I'm just leading with that. Did you actually do the Hokey Pokey while you were at Camp Hokey Pokey?
So Camp Hokey Pokey is a place to turn yourself around.
Okay.
And
but did you do the Hokey Pokey?
There is doing the Hokey Pokey. It happens at the end circle, which I was not there for.
Martin John.
Well, it was.
I
was not. I was a contrarian.
I love that about you. I actually identify with that a lot, and that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about, is my contrarian nature. There was a verse you read the other day, and it was talking about something to the effect of to be an enemy, or no, to have an enemy, you have to be an enemy. Something like that, right?
Yep.
And it kind of connects with what you and Lo were just discussing about leadership and trusting, because I have this person at school that I'm forced to interact with, and she is in
already. Well, okay, let's pause right there before I hear anything else. I just want to pause and say,
Let me
I've
take a
heard that.
breath.
I've heard that exact line from you at your other school. I'm forced to interact with, right? So,
well, and that's where I'm coming from. That's
Yeah.
when I thought, when I think of this person, I thought of that verse that you read the other day, and I don't want to make her an enemy, but I think it's more about the trust. Like, I know that I've taught longer than this person because she came to a school that I was at and started teaching there when I had been teaching for like decades. And so now I find myself in a position where I'm supposed to be taking advice from her. And it's hard as fuck, Martin John. I just gotta be real, dude.
So for what I know about you, right, like this relates to you being a little girl having to interact with your dad. You're forced to interact with them, so there's still this lack of power, right? This like you still have a belief that you are in a situation, or you will find yourself that you have a frame of reference that life is situations under which you are forced to interact with people. Like, this was at your old school, this is at your new school, right? Unless you deal with this, you're going to continue finding yourself feeling as if you're forced to interact with people. And we can go through 69, which is an invitation to conflict. This is the verse that you're talking about. We'll go through this and we'll look at that from this little perspective and see if we can. And I would still, just like in your day-to-day, look back and see all of the places you feel this sort of victim of being forced to interact with people that maybe don't have your best interest, or don't appreciate you, or don't see your light, or don't see what you have to offer, or don't listen to you. I don't know how you're experiencing all of this, but this all sort of goes back to, the idea that at any moment, everything could be, things could be bad at any moment because someone doesn't see you, doesn't appreciate you, doesn't take you into consideration. And we'll see if that keeps popping up, addressing it not from what she's doing, but from how you're perceiving it, from the idea that where else does this pop up in my life? Where did this happen? And I can see that, like if you have an abusive father, you can easily think like, I'm forced to interact with this man. I'm living with this. I'm living in a damaged state, but that doesn't mean we have to be damaged by it, once again, as the Tao talks about. But let me read number 69, and we'll go over this a little bit and see if this has anything, because this is conflict. Whether you and she are actually conflicting.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, so obviously there's
conflict within you. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and this says, in conflict, the master will never host aggression. So looking at your actions and looking at how you interact with her, thinking about like, are you hosting aggression, or is she hosting? Right. So because like she might not be hosting aggression, she might just be being a bitch. She might just be being like,
or I might be the one being the bitch, Martin John. I don't know, man.
Well, she might just be. Well, yeah, maybe she might just like be micromanaging, or she might be just doing this thing that she does. This is just her doing her thing. So in conflict, the master will never host aggression. She would much prefer to be a guest and relinquish space rather than claim it. The thing is this other person might not be conflicting with you. So this allows the host to exhaust themselves. And if you're hosting aggression, you're the one exhausting yourself. Without the master having to weaponize anything. See, so this person that you're dealing with might just be being micromanaging, and you're hosting aggression or conflict and they don't even know it.
Right.
And so here you are claiming space, and your words, even if she's not aware of it, are getting weaponized, possibly. And that's again poisoning your stream, not hers.
Yeah.
Wanting to control through aggression is foolish. This underestimates conflict and its results. When you choose to conflict with another, you look down on them and lose your 3 lessons. Your 3 lessons, again, compassion, moderation, and humility. By creating an enemy, you become an enemy. When 2 forces oppose each other, the one who relinquishes prevails. What was that?
Yeah, I don't think the humility was obviously there. That's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can be honest with you. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you know,
No, we all,
I'm a
like, trust me,
contrarian.
I go out, when I get a bug up my butt, man, I'm a little prick, you know what I mean? And but you know, this harkens back to this idea of your inner light. You know, when you realize.
Sorry, my Bluetooth did something
No, that's
crazy.
fine. That's
Give
fine.
me
I'm
a
gonna
minute.
pause.
My bad. Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So when you recognize that you're hosting aggression, it goes back to the same thing that everything goes back to. Do you like that you're doing it?
No.
Right. Boom. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to start with. Now, recognize you're going to do it until you don't. And every time you do it, just recognize, you know what, I don't like that I'm doing this, but here I am. It's going to become a little like even when you said no, you chuckled. It's lighter than being like, I'm a victim. And it's lighter than I'm judging myself. Right? So you don't have to either be a victim or judge yourself. You can just recognize that I don't like that I'm doing this, and I'm going to do it until I don't. And here you are. And this verse is great about the idea of like, well, who's the one hosting the aggression? You know, and maybe you're hosting aggression quietly within your own body.
Right?
Right? Like, you're not bringing it. And in these, like, passive-aggressive ways, you're being a little bitch, you know? Like, and so it's like, oh, well, you know, and you're going to do it until you don't. But, like, this allows the host space to exhaust themselves. And through those things, those are things that are going to ultimately exhaust you if you're the one hosting the aggression. And then seeing, like, can you relinquish more space, or can you have a conversation or see it differently? Like, is it true, like what you're saying, 100%? And are you positive of that? Or is there a potential for it to be a little, for it to be a little different? Maybe you can even ask someone else's opinion without trying to sway them to make you right.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I did have interaction with, wasn't just her, it was a meeting where she was there, and her 2 cents made me feel like she was saying she had the answers, you know, or, you know, that she knew how to deal, like, oh, well, I can, you know, whatever. And I'm like, but you fucking know, how are you going to tell me, right? And I didn't say that, but, you know, sometimes my actions speak louder than my words do.
Yeah.
So I went to a colleague yesterday that I was asking for help with something else. And I was like, was I like a bitch at the meeting the other day? And I don't know if I exactly used that. Or no, I think I said, was I out of line is what I said. I said, was I out of line? And she said that I wasn't. So I did, like, you know, check myself. But then I also got an email, you know, where I'm like, I have to meet with her. And I don't like, as you know, being a contrarian, I don't like being forced to have to do, like, you know, I have to meet with this woman. And I'm like thinking I'm going in there, and this is that, what we were just talking about, with the notion that she's going to come in here and tell me how to do
Telling
something
the stories,
I've been doing longer than she's been doing. Yep, it's a story. You're right.
So here's the thing. Like, you came onto my show, told me that you are being told what to do by, and she hasn't even done that yet.
Yeah, no, she has. She has told me what to do.
Okay, she has done that. All right.
Yeah,
she but
has.
So, and is she in a position to do that?
Yeah, and I think that might be part of where some of my animosity comes from, too, because she's actually the person that got the position that I was interviewing for when I got, so I think there's probably a little animosity behind that, too, especially knowing that I have more experience than her, and I'm like, okay, kind of maybe just rubs me the wrong way a little bit,
I get that. Yeah, no, I understand, but
I also don't want to be an enemy, like you said. I don't want to create an enemy.
And the thing is you get to interact with the children more.
Yes.
Like, in a deeper way.
Yes.
And that's, like, maybe she's making more money than you. I don't know. Maybe she's got more control to tell people what to do. I don't know. But all this is about, like, your goal isn't to be right. It's to connect to the kids in a deep, meaningful way. And this hierarchy of measuring, like, who's most important, that's the educational system. That's a system under which you're living, day to day. And so being reminded of that by having someone who has, and you don't necessarily know she has less experience than you. You only know that she has less time in the job than you do.
I mean, I think, that's kind of verbiage, but yeah.
No. Experience, like, I could have a job and not experience anything. But I can have an experience and understand a lot, And so we don't know the experiences that she has, but we do know that our boss, for whatever reason, feels that she's better in this position than you would be. And maybe that's because you deal better with children or whatever. That's all, we don't know.
Well, actually, what I was told is that my boss didn't have a say in the matter. The superintendent placed her there without giving my boss the opportunity to choose. So that was what.
And that story, that story in and of itself. Go on.
No, I said it just kind of gets in my crawl,
Well, yeah. Well, that story in and of itself gives you a platform to be discontent. Because it's like, I have proof that it's not only me. Oh, you dropped. I didn't recognize you dropped. If you wanted to come back. But that's the thing, right? And when we have proof that someone else is also being harmed or hurt by this decision, we can be hurt by this decision. We can lean into that hurt, and then we can be supported by our boss or whatever. Like it's like, look, I have a platform to build an allegiance outside of this thing.
No, you're right. And I appreciate the reminder about the fact that I do get to work more closely with the children, which is what I enjoy anyway.
You don't want to be telling people what to do.
Yes, that was the thing that I struggled with, if you remember.
Yeah.
Being in a leadership role. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. And I know part of it is that I doubt myself, and, that's something that I'm working on.
You are going to, that's the thing. You go into this relationship, you start trusting yourself more, and then you'll be able to, if you are thinking clearly, bring your ideas in a clear and non-combative way to this person in this position and help her without having to do her job. You can still connect with the children and not have the stress and the weight of having to meet with her. Like, you got to meet with her, but okay, so what? Like, that's part of your job. Yeah. Like, I know your job is dealing with children, but there's a lot that gets put into that. So off you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at least I got to put it off for a day or two. So
yeah,
gives me a chance to be in a better mindset when I do, unfortunately, find myself in a situation where I have to sit down with her. Because, I love being told what I have to do.
So my daily planner has these two sections. That's the first thing that I fill out in my daily planner is I'm grateful for and I'm excited about. And things like, because I have a meeting today that I'm not really, I'm always kind of rolling my eyes at. But like I put that in I'm excited about. I'm excited about meeting with this person just so I can, because it's going to be a difficult thing because, she's constantly changing what she wants to do and all of these sorts of things and how things are supposed to get done. And she's always behind and she's got a lot of craziness. It's just a business owner that I work with. And it's difficult sometimes because they're not organized and they're not, but I have to kind of frame it in this way of being like, all right, I'm excited to do this because once I do this, I won't have to do it again for a week. So let's get that shit behind me now. She's going to give me some information. I'm going to have something to do. And then I'm just going to put it behind me and then it'll be done. And I know it's only an hour. And so and I know even though after this meeting, I won't have anything to really, I don't have anything really planned. I can go to that meeting and as it's coming up, it's like, oh, I got a hard stop. And the hard stop isn't because I got something else to do. It's because I got to get off of this meeting. And yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, so the idea that you're excited to get together with this person, because the sooner you get together with her, the sooner you can stop telling all these stupid stories.
I actually, my better takeaway from that was, she said in the message that we only had to meet for about 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay,
all right,
20 minutes out of my life. I can deal with it for fucking 20 minutes.
As you go in, you can even say, look, I got a hard stop in 25. So give her, because she might, you don't want to go there and just give her her 20. You give her 25. And she said, you said this was going to be 20 minutes. I have a hard stop at this time. So, let's get right down to it. So she doesn't, because it's going to piss you off if she wants to make small talk.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
If you go in, tell her you have a hard stop. And again, do a segment intention, have an intention. I'm intending to be open and receive. I'm intending to be kind, or whatever you want to say about the meeting. You intend to do these things.
Yes,
and then
I need to be kind.
Go in and do that, but also present your boundary. Go in, first thing you do. And she said, you said this was only going to take about 20 minutes. I got 25. Let's get right down to it. And then, and that's it. And then she'll have to get right into it. She can't beat around the bush, and she can't think about ways of sidling up or doing anything. You just it's all very matter of fact. You're here for a thing. You have kids you want to take care of and you want to lead and you want to inspire. And this meeting is sort of less important than that.
I agree. Although, yeah. I'm sure somebody would say that, my meeting with her is supposed to help me with engaging with the kids, but that's where that whole doubt comes in. And we're not going to go back to that whole stupid story again.
She said that it's going to take 20 minutes. So no matter how much it's going to help you, you only need 20 minutes and you're giving her 25.
There you go. Would it be rude
So
to
you
set the
open yourself
timer?
up to receive. Well, you open yourself to receive it, and you have a hard stop. That's all. And then you have to go take care of something else. That's all. Life is easy.
Well, thank you very much, my friend. I was urged to contact you on Monday when I was feeling a bit out of sorts, and I was like, it's like, I'm not sure that, calling him right now is appropriate, but I definitely knew that we needed to talk. So I'm glad that I got
Monday was not the day to contact me. I got contacted by like 4 different people, like all in various states of disarray. So I'm glad.
Well, I'm glad I didn't. I was like, but sometimes we just have to feel our feelings, even if they are funky, fucked up feelings,
Right. Ultimately, that's what I told the other 4 people.
That they needed to feel their funky, fucked up
I was like,
feelings.
go feel your feelings. Leave me alone. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that. See? And I didn't even bother you. I came to the same conclusion and didn't even have to fuck up your Monday even more than it was already fucked up.
No, everything was good. But it did take a lot out of me that day.
Well, although I do have to say that even though I had listened to you on Monday, the person that urged me to call you also urged me. I'll just come right out and say it because she's like, well, why didn't you just say your mom? And I'm like, okay, fine. So I'll just say, so she was telling me I should call you, but she did tell me, she was shooting on me. I told her, don't you shoot on me. But anyway,
don't you shoot, yeah.
I went back and I listened to your show again that you had done that day, and it did help me too. And that's what you were talking about, because you were talking about the being an enemy, and that was what got through to me. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm doing that, aren't I? Shit. So you helped
and
me.
that happens, right? And
knowing that you helped me,
right? And that happens, in that, like, that's one of my favorite things, like in this verse or in the Tao, when it talks about that idea that by creating an enemy, you become an enemy. Like that is profound. Like because that person
powerful, man,
might not see you as an enemy, but once you create it in your mind, you've become an enemy. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly the conclusion I came to, because I don't think she sees me with the animosity that I see her with.
Right.
I definitely don't.
And here we are hosting aggression, right?
Right? I know.
And it's like, it's fine.
It's not, though.
Well, I mean, you're going to do it until you don't.
I know.
You're okay. You're doing great. Like, and this is the thing. This isn't about your relationship with her. It's about your relationship with yourself. Where is that animosity pointed at you anyway?
Well, and the fact that you correlated it in a way that I didn't, and because, as much as I would love to say I make all the wonderful connections and I see all the trauma and this shit from my past, I don't. I really don't.
Well, especially, and that's the thing. That's the difference between knowing your trauma and being aware of it, right? When you're aware of it, you're like, where is this coming from? Right? So you become aware of your triggers, and then you ask, where is this coming from, rather than this is getting lost in manifestation, right? You got lost in manifestation. She is doing something to me. Where the reality is like I perceiving something that she is doing from a certain perspective. And when you break that up, you start to see yourself so much clearer.
Oh, yeah, me and my perceptions, I tell you. Well, I'm going to take myself and my perceptions, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to have a great day.
Yes, you are. Oh. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Did you just drop off? Oh, he did. You're going to go have a great day. All right. Well, go have a great day. Love you. Thank you so much for joining me. So I'm going to go back to 52 and talking about like being afraid of our own inner light, being afraid of the potential. I tell people all the time, you got to know what you're capable of. Like the idea that we are all capable of murder, right? We're all capable of it. We could imagine that we're not. We could tell ourselves a story that we're not capable of doing that, but we are. And we're all capable of horrific things and amazing things. And sometimes the light inside of us is really bright, so bright, in fact, that it scares us. It scares us because we don't know where it's going to take us. And like I was talking about before, this idea of like the spiritual awakening or whatever we want to call it, when you have that moment, where you've grown kind of overnight, when you have that moment that you've grown in a really intense way and everything happened to fall into place, then you start to doubt that. You're like, well, that can't happen again, right? If I go to this, I might not be able to come out of it. And I don't know how we all have our experience of like how powerful we are. But once we get a taste of it, once we understand how powerful we are in when we do that initial spiritual growth, we get a glimmer of it. We get a glancing view of it. It's pretty powerful and it's pretty intense. And, I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's anything you're not capable of, right? Do you want to walk through walls? Sure, you can do that. I don't see why not. Like, this is just manifestation. These are all just cells. There's space. There's emptiness in there. There's more emptiness in a wall than there is solidity. It just appears to be solid. So when we do all of those things, when we, it's not, there's nothing impossible. I mean, I wouldn't spend all my life trying to figure that out because that's why we have doors. But, the verse that I picked to talk about this idea of our inner light and of this was, like Tao, so too you. So Tao is that inner light. And that Tao is you. There's no way you can escape that. You are Tao. We are all Tao. All things issue from Tao. It is their mother, then in their own time return to Tao. Whether that's an identity of who we are, it returns to Tao. Whether that's our actual body, it returns to Tao. Whether that's our consciousness, it returns to Tao. Our minds returns to Tao. Our childhood returns to Tao. Our formative years returns to Tao. Our senior years returns to Tao, right? It's all these identities that we pick up along the way and how we see ourselves. And all of those identities are structures in which we keep our light. Like Tao, so too you act on the world as manifestation. Okay, so let's kind of unpack that because that's a lot. First of all, we say all things issue from Tao. It is their mother. Then in their own time, they return to Tao. Okay, we birth things and then they come back to us. So like Tao, so too you act in the world of manifestation. In the world of manifestation, you act and it will return to you in one way or another. So you act. One of the first things we do as children in terms of acting is observing and making assumptions. Okay? So too you act in the world of manifestation. You act in the world of manifestation by going out into the world and making an assumption about it. This is how you live under the influence. This is how you build a frame of reference. Like Tao, so too you are birthing these frames of reference for yourself. When you recognize you are the mother of your experience, you can identify the children your actions birth. So when you recognize that this frame of reference that you built, this frame of reference that you observed and then solidified in your mind, when you recognize that this frame of reference, and it doesn't have to be a frame of reference, it could be a friendship, it could be an action, it could be some other sort of action as well, right? So, like Tao, so too you act in the world of manifestation. So you are birthing all of this. You're birthing all of this, whether it's an idea or whether it's an action or whether it's a thing or whether it's a relationship or whether it's a conversation. You act in the world of manifestation. You're birthing these things into the world. When you recognize you are the mother of your experience is the culmination of everything that you're perceiving, right? So you're having this experience. When you recognize you're the mother of experience, you can identify the children your actions birth. This is a big deal. You either identify the children your actions birth, or you're the victim of the world around you. This is where we're talking about your light. Because if you're the victim, it's a lot easier to just go along with things. However, if you can seriously identify the children that your actions birth, i.e. the results of the assumptions that you're making in the world, right? So you have a frame of reference. That frame of reference unfolds into a result, right? You can identify the children. That result is the child of the thought of the frame of reference that you birthed through your own observation. Now, you can take it as a victim, and if you take it as a victim, you don't necessarily see your own light, right? You're blind to your own light, to your own power. You're not recognizing that you birthed this. When you can love the result as your child, you free yourself from sorrow. So maybe you see yourself as a victim. That victim is a child of how you perceive the world. Now, when you recognize that that feeling of being a victim is your child and you love that, now you're getting to this place where you can free yourself from sorrow because you're no longer the victim of that, because you're starting to realize, wait, that was my action. My action created this scenario under which I am now a victim. And then you can take responsibility for feeling like a victim. And now you're no longer a victim. You're no longer full of sorrow. And when we talk about it from the standpoint of having your own light and seeing your own light, the power behind that is really intense, because as the Tao says, like the master is not understood. The master seems cruel. The master seems to be disinterested. And they are. Because the only thing that interests me is my light. What else could be bigger than that? And my light imbues everything with life and the potential for everything to happen. That is powerful, but there's nothing to fear in that. Nobody is less powerful than you, and nobody is more powerful. We all have this. We have it in different ways, but there's no different degrees. Whether you're aware of it or not, Tao is your gift. The light that you have inside of you is Tao, right? It is inspiring you. And the more you can trust it, and the more you can trust even your assumptions, because if you make an assumption about something you observe, that assumption is being made to teach you a thing that Tao needs you to learn. That is part of your, pre-karmic buffet and all those things that we've talked about. The last verse of this says, choose not to recognize your motherhood, a victim filled with desire and judgment. There will be no end to your turmoil. That doesn't mean it's wrong. There not being an end to your turmoil, that's just what you're going to have to deal with. That's not wrong. It's not bad. It's not anything. It's just like, good. You got turmoil. Hit it. And then the people that are surrounding you, that are all in your circle and stuff, they have turmoil too, probably. So good. You guys got your own little community. That's also nice and good. Why is that bad? Look into the darkness and learn how to yield. Not allowing your senses to guide you, you will find peace in every crevice. That darkness, that not knowing. That not knowing is scary. That not knowing what you're capable of. That not knowing that if you release your control of this, anything can happen. And it's right. You're right. Anything can happen. And that's where our faith or our need to try to understand that this, when I surrender to it, I'm being guided and I'm being held and I'm moving in a direction that is going to be good for me and everybody that I'm interacting with. Yeah, it's scary to let go, especially like when we have believed in the manifestation for so long, when we have had faith in the manifestation, when we use the manifestation to guide us rather than trusting ourselves to be guided. All things issue from Tao. It is their mother. Then in their own time, they return to Tao. Like Tao, so too you act in the world of manifestation. So too you birth everything that you experience. Everything you experience. See, Tao, everything, all things issue from Tao. It is their mother. Everything that you will experience in your life, every little minute thing is being birthed through you. You are its mother. Remember that verse that says, life is a gift received from Tao, and everything is sustained in support of that gift. That means everything you experience is simply being sustained in support of your life. Your life is getting everything that you experience sustained. All of your friends, all of your family, every bit of dust, every fly, every bee, every flower, everything that you come across is being sustained solely because you have been given the gift of life, and now all of these things need to be sustained so that you can mature in this life. Like, that's intense. That's amazing. And it's saying, like, all of your acts in the world are being birthed through you, through your perception, through your experience. When you can recognize that you are the mother of your experience, that you have birthed this experience because it's coming to you, it's coming through you. You're having this experience through your eyes, through your senses. And those have been layered with perceptions and rules and ideas. When you can recognize you have birthed these things, you can identify the children. You can identify what they are in your life. So if you have a belief that you, throughout your life, you're going to be forced to interact with people, well, then that belief is going to come up over and over and over again in your life. And you're going to have to look at it. You're going to have to be like, where do I still believe this? And why do I still believe this? And is it true? And then when you can love them as your children, you free yourself from sorrow. You can love these children that you've birthed through your perceptions, through your assumptions, through your expectations. When you can love them as your children, be like, like I don't want to judge this because it's my child. I don't want my child to feel judged. But if you're judging him, then you choose not to recognize your motherhood. You choose not to recognize that this is your child. Stop pushing this child away. Stop telling this child it's not good. Stop telling this child you don't like it. When you choose not to recognize her, and this is interesting on how I chose to write it. When you choose not to recognize your motherhood, it means you're choosing to ignore your motherhood, choosing to ignore how you established this concept in your life. You're a victim filled with desire and judgment. Desire for things to be different, judgment on what it is. There will be no end to your turmoil. Look into the darkness and learn how to yield. not allowing your senses to guide you. Because your senses, again, have all of this preconceived ideas that you observed and thought about the world. Don't allow those to guide you. Allow yourself to be guided from the deep light that you have within yourself, and you will find peace in every crevice. I hope that addresses the idea of the inner light and being afraid of the inner light, and how we can take steps to move in a direction that allows us to trust our inner light more, and really sometimes be self-critical, maybe be like, you know what, I don't like that I do this. That's all it takes. It doesn't have to be judgmental. Just be like, constructively criticizing what I like and I don't like, and just, and I don't like that I did that. I could have done this better. I could deal with this relationship better. I can deal with this conversation better. There are different ways of going about it. And the best way to get to a place where we can see other options, different ways of addressing things, the best way to get to that is to just be honest and just kind of say, you know what, I don't like that I'm doing this. And then, next time we'll try it a different way, maybe. Maybe not. And that's okay too. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is Martin John. I present Tao of the Day Monday through Friday here on Noom 5, 6 a.m. Central Time. And if you want to support me and my program, you can do so through my profile. You can find links to Venmo and links to my website where you can buy me a coffee. Thank you guys so much once again for joining me. I'm Martin John. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.